Colossians 2:16 through 17 is often used as a proof text against people that keep the Torah, to say that we don't have to keep the dietary laws or the feast days or the Sabbaths. However, when taught in context, Colossians 2:16 through 17 actually supports the observance of Torah. Colossians 2, therefore let no one pass judgment on you in questions of food and drink, or with regard to a festival or a new moon or a Sabbath. These are a shadow of things to come, but the substance belongs to Christ. First of all, let's do a little history lesson on Colossae. Colossae is in modern-day Turkey. Colossae is right here, and way over here in the green is Israel. I want you to take note how far away Colossae is from Israel. There are no planes, trains, or cars. Colossae is a Gentile nation with no Jewish influence. So think about the words spoken in Colossians 2. They were not in the heart of Israel. Who would be judging them for not keeping the dietary laws, or not keeping the festivals, or not keeping the new moons or Sabbaths? These people did not grow up doing any of these things. They didn't grow up with the dietary laws. They didn't grow up with new moons or Sabbaths or festivals. There would be nobody to judge them. In fact, when taught in context, it's the exact opposite. These people were coming out of pagan religions, starting to keep the Sabbath, starting to keep the dietary laws, starting to keep the feast days. And they were being judged for doing that. Just like when Sabbath keepers start keeping the dietary laws and start keeping the feast days of God and the Sabbaths. They were coming out of the world. They were coming out of that pagan religion, that pagan way of living, in favor of living a life for God, and they were being judged for it. And when Paul says these are a shadow of the things to come, but the substance belongs to Christ, he is 1,000,000,000% correct. The Sabbath is a foreshadow of Christ's millennial reign. The Sabbath is the 7th day, and Christ's millennial reign is the 7,000th year, and it's going to be a time of peace and rest, just like the Sabbath is supposed to symbolize. And every single feast day tells the story of Jesus. The gospel is in all the feast days of Leviticus 23. If you're curious about that, I have a few videos about it in my Sabbath and Holidays playlist. When you actually study the context and the culture of Colossae at the time that this was written, there's absolutely no way you can use these words in opposition to Torah observance. Paul was 100% speaking to Torah keepers. And Paul 100% kept the laws himself. I have an entire playlist that proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that Paul actually taught the Torah and was in favor of keeping the laws.